Hi guys, so I thought I'd just tell you about a missing girl that went missing, and she was only 16 when she went missing. And I first came across this case. It was on a Facebook post. I think it was on miss UK missing or something like that. I'm not sure. I'll have to look and I'll let you know. And as soon as I saw it, I thought I was sort of drawn to it, and she looked quite familiar, but she I've let her find out she hasn't got sort of any connections with Sheffield or things like that, and I probably had never sort of met her, but she did sort of, I don't know, she did look really familiar, and obviously I'm reading it, and it's only like a little post. It's not like a full, in depth sort of what happened. It's very brief, and sort of like the main points and stuff. And I thought, I went and I took notes on it, and I thought, oh, that definitely deserves a bit of, time on our channel. We'll put a video together about it. And about a week later, I got a notification again on Facebook saying that somebody had joined my group. It was the Sex Workers UK one. And then literally seconds later, this person who just joined put a post up, and it was this case. And I thought, wow, doesn't things, happen for a reason and everything, paths crossing and all that. And sort of read it and made contact to the person who put the post up, and asked if they would mind me doing a video, and I got more information from them. And at first I thought it was actually a member of the girl's family who I'm going to talk about in a minute, but it's not. It's an organ. They sent like a I don't know if it was around before on Facebook actually. I've not asked them that actually. I'm going to, but they've got a group on there, and they sort of, if you've got like a case that's not being solved or missing person, again that's gone cold, they sort of bring it back into the limelight, so to speak, into front of people's minds. So it sounds really good. I've only really just been speaking to them today, but yeah, this sounds really good. I'll put the link on there as well, so if anybody has sort of got a family member who's gone missing, and they or a murder case or anything like that that's gone cold, I think it sounds like they're probably worth giving them a go. So, bloody fog's gone out now. Let me just light my faggot eyes off. So there's quite a lot I've wrote down, because I really do want to cover this, and I want to cover it in depth, because this girl was literally 16 when she went missing, and 14 when she was introduced to crack cocaine by somebody who was considerably older than her. So it's sort of, there's a lot of things after my own heart in this, and what I feel very strongly about, and a lot of things in this case are what I'm trying to bring awareness to on this video, on this channel, sorry. So it is going to be probably a bit longer than normal, but I please beg you to watch it. You might be that one person who can sort of give information, or you may know her, just watch and we'll see. So let's begin. I've wrote this all down because I don't want to get anything wrong. So let's start, guys. Let me put my spectacles on so I can see. Right, she was called Carmel French. She was age 16. She was also known as Carmel Pen Dry. Okay, that's Carmel Pen Dry. Yes, I've said it right. And she went missing in May 98. She wasn't actually reported missing by her mum until the guys who I spoke to, the lady who I spoke to was on this group, said it was about a week later. Some stories online even go up to a month later. So let's just say about a week, maybe two, something like that. Okay, and she was last seen on the 21st of May, 98. And if she was, still alive now, or she popped up, she would be in her 40s. So there's also a picture of her, what she would look like, like they did with Maddie McCann. So hopefully I'm going to try and put that up. But if for some reason I'm that thick I can't do it, I'm going to tell you where you can go and get the pictures from, so you can sort of, see if you know her. So anyway, at the time she was living in Crawley, but she actually grew up in North Peckham, on a really rough, violent estate. But she had really close family. It sounds like there was quite a large family. She was brought up in a single parent household, but quite a few of us are now. Nothing against that at all. Her dad sort of, like, when she was young, I don't think she really knew her dad. to be quite honest with you. But she had a really good upbringing. I mean, loving wise, really loving connections within the household. She lived with her mum and other siblings. I'm not sure how many she's got. We're not too sure on that. And the ladies who gave me the information aren't 100%, but she did grow up with other siblings. She was a really popular girl, and she had loads and loads of friends growing up. Unfortunately, she was bullied at school, and this started in secondary school. Her mum does go on to say, and the reason there's no reason for bullying, but the reason she was targeted, let's say, was because she had one leg was slightly shorter than the other, so obviously it caused her to walk with a limp, and she would get called things like hop along and things like that. But and the way Carmel sort of dealt with this, she didn't sort of go like angry or anything like that, like most probably kids would. She wanted to sort of be accepted, and she'd sort of act like the class clown and stuff. So she'd probably always get into a little bit of trouble. So she might have stood out a little bit if you went to school with her, maybe. But yeah, so where we got to, and then when she was 14. She asked her mum if she could go to a kids, a party, what was being held by kids at school. And again, at 14, you don't think anything untoward's going to be happening there, do you? And obviously, you say yeah, and her mum obviously did say yeah. Her mum does say she does go on to sort of regret this, because unfortunately, it seems to be that at this party was where she met an older Jamaican guy in his 40s and was introduced to cocaine at this party. So her mum sort of does regret that, but we can't sort of blame ourselves all the time, can we? But I suppose her mum, has a lot of issues regarding this case, to be honest, and apparently her mental health really suffered, and it would. I mean, it's been over 25 years. I mean, I can't sort of imagine what she must be feeling, really, to be honest. She began to sort of be very secretive. Which she hadn't ever been with her mum. I think there was quite close, and it was quite like open. If she couldn't speak to her mum, there's other siblings she could speak to. And she started staying out and going, staying away from home for days at the start, and they'd slowly increase, into weeks. And it was to the point where she was only coming home to sort of get changed and have a bath and probably grab a little bit of food, and then she'd be on her way. And mum says that she wasn't aware that Carmel was addicted to hard drugs, and she just sort of put it down to moody teenagers, which a lot of parents do, don't they? I mean, it's very hard to the signs that you're looking out for. We'll have to do a video on that as well. But the signs that you're looking out for show drug use, show addiction, are of a stop a teenager, aren't they? So she didn't really know what to look for, and what she did see, she probably spoke about it with other mums, and they said, oh, our so-and-so's like that, and it'll just be, teens, hormones, all that. So she wasn't actually aware of that, and when she did find out, it was obviously a little bit too late. She would then spend her time, obviously, because she'd gone to this party and met this bloody drug dealer. She used to spend her time with him, and it was said that he was into sort of grooming as well. And grooming up grooming into drugs and in trafficking, young girls. I would imagine that's with the sound of it anyway. If it's into trafficking, I would imagine they're going to be young girls, aren't they? Today it would be called grooming. Back then it wasn't recognised as anything. Sort of like a little bit of a rebellious teenager, maybe with dad issues. That's probably what it was put down to. I mean, oh God, I don't think we've come that much further now, have we, really? But anyway, so around this time, she'd be spending her time sort of in and around Brixton, and she used to frequent a place called Cold Harbour Lane. And this road is like the sort of road there you fucking don't want to go on it. I mean, years and years ago, John Major actually grew up on there. So, but nowadays it's bloody bad. I've Wikipedia'd it as well. So, yes, we'll get there anyway. But so she was sort of seen on there quite a lot, and this was like a road or a lane or whatever it is. What's sort of known for drug use, drug users, sex industry workers, drug dealers. You sort of untoward people where you kind of definitely avoid it in the day. try and avoid it in the day, but definitely avoid it at night. I think it's one of those. And there's a lot of squats on there. And I would imagine it's like that 24 hours a day. So I sort of, like I say, I looked it up, and in April 97 there was a shooting there, obviously unrelated to the cases I'm talking about these are. Then there was another one in June, and apparently it's in 03, a magazine, a London paper, I can't remember what it's called now, but they said it was one of the most dangerous streets in London. One of the most dangerous streets and in the most dangerous borough in London. So obviously, oh bloody hell, we don't want to go there, do we? And then in 2018, a 19 and 23-year-old was doing some graffiti and they got hit by a train there. She also went to another road, what's quite famous as well. I haven't looked this one up, but it's going back for a few years. I think it's sort of been known for certain things. But it was a road called Meeting House Lane, and that's in Peckham. And on this road at this time, there was some Turkish families that lived on there. I don't know if it's known for immigrants or what. You'd have to go and check it out, guys. I don't know. But this one certain set family would sort of like, they tried to sort of take her in and be like a mum figure to her. You know, they knew her mum. I think they only really knew her mum though because of her obviously keep going down to this road. But they would like sort of try and take her in. Try and take care of her a little bit, because I mean she's only young, isn't she? At this time I think she's going to be about 14, 15, isn't she? So she's a child really, and obviously if she's running away from home, you know, an adult needs to try and be keeping her, you know, on an eye on her in some way, and they would feed her and let her stay, and apparently she used to help out in their cafe and things like that, you know. So she was, even though she was sort of getting lured into this drug underworld, she was sort of still the nice, you know, friendly Carmel that, you know, all these people probably remember her for being. And they would sort of tell her mum where she was, you know, when her mum used to come looking for her. This Turkish family would say, you know, we've seen her, she's, you know, last we knew she was here, there, you know, that sort of thing. Because her mum would apparently, after she'd reported her missing, I'll get to that bit in a moment, but after she reported her missing, she would go down to these roads and kick doors in, basically, on squats, looking for her. You know, I think, with the sound of it, the police had very little to do with it, or reluctant. I don't know. We'll make a decision on the aftermath bit, what we do. So anyway, she was reported missing. Sorry, she wasn't reported missing until about, like I said, a month later. We're not too sure, but let's go with about a week. And due to her being sort of staying away for weeks and stuff, her mum sort of, this was like kind of the normal. She had to sort, unfortunately, didn't want it to be like that, but she had to accept that. She's come to terms with, you know, at least I do, you know, she is coming home and she's making contact. You know, she'd done all she could. I mean, she even moved the family, relocated them all to, where was it now? Crawley, just to try and get her away from the drugs and get her away from the sort of, the chains that the drug dealers sort of clamped on her, so to speak. But there was in that deep at that moment, in that time, in that part of her life where she would just run away from there. Social services were involved, and they did sort of put her into care. But again, she ran away. And I think we're just sort of learning now, wasn't they, really, in the 90s, that, you know, grooming was happening, and, you know, kids, it isn't just a naughty child running away. That you know, this girl, with the sound of it, and now it would be definitely that, you know, it ticks every box for, you know, vulnerable, probably trafficked, forced into prostitution, maybe. I mean, there's nothing sort of saying she was, but I think it probably could have ended up there. You know, she was around those sort of people, but that was more because of her drugs as opposed to her herself. Because obviously she was very young, wasn't she? So you know, and apparently the way she made her money to survive was shoplifting. So luckily she hadn't got that far yet, where she was, you know, strolling the streets of London, sleeping with men for money. But I imagine that she's still not in a very good place right now in this moment in her life, is she? And she kept running back to it for whatever reason. Whoever had this pulled over her was definitely pulling her back from wherever she would be in the UK, really, I would imagine. So she was last seen like I said, on the 21st of the 5th, 98, and it was outside, I hope I am pronouncing this right, Camberwell Camberwell Green Magistrates Court, and she was in court for a shoplifting charge. She was seen coming out there by somebody. We don't know who it is. They're saying that he or she is unknown. They're even saying, come forward. So they must have got this information anonymously. I would imagine from obviously not to know who it is, obviously. But then somebody does go on to say again, nobody, the witnesses are not available. I'm not like I know, but the people, who know more of it about me than me, when I asked if there was any witnesses and had been able to speak to him, they said that they have no names for witnesses and there is none. So this must be either from CCTV inside the court. I'm probably feeling that one, foremost. Or somebody seen them. And anyway, the comment the statement that's made about this is, they seem to have known each other. He definitely knew her, but she did leave alone. She did confide in somebody. I think it was a close family member, or it might even be a member of the family, that she was 3 months pregnant and that she intended to go and tell the baby's father after court had finished. So I'm guessing in her mind she's heading off to go and tell her, the father of this unborn baby that they're going to have a child together. And nobody knows the outcome, do they? Because she's totally disappeared off the face of the earth, guys. But we know that can't happen. So let's carry on. So basically, we need to find the person who saw her coming out of court, and we need for the guy who was talking to her inside court. We need them to step forward, be a man. I mean, it's years out, it's years away. You're probably not even in that life anymore. Come on, just tell them, just come forward anonymously if you want. Do the right thing. It was said that the 40-year-old Jamaican guy, who was, they believed that it's rumoured that he was called Mickey. I doubt that would have been his name, obviously. It was just probably his street name. That he was allegedly the father of her unborn baby. But again, nothing's known of that. She was never sort of seen with any boyfriend. I mean, she was only, like I say, she was 14. She probably had little, daft little holding hand boyfriends and stuff, but definitely nothing, not serious or anything. Let's have a look now. I think we've got that. She had a lot of little friends. She didn't have like a best friend, but she had sort of like loads of groups of friends. She was very close to her family. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. She was very close to her family. She sort of like listening to Puff Daddy. She liked singing along. She loved sort of kids. So I imagine she was a babysitter for the families and stuff. And so I want to sort of appeal to the people. Me. I mean, she was very popular, as I said to you. And why is nobody coming forward? So reluctant to come forward, but she had so many friends. Somebody out there knows something. I mean, like I said, it's 25 years. I mean, I get that people in that lifestyle don't want to come forward and speak to the police, and I understand that, and I've lived that code myself. But it's 25 years on. There probably is no the person who's, I hope somebody's watching this who does know, and just shut your eyes for a minute and you picture the last time you saw this girl. You may have been taking drugs with her, you may have been playing, sort of, I don't know, dancing around in your bedroom with her. You even may be an older person who maybe you've seen her on those dangerous streets and you took her under your wing, and she didn't. You probably got out, and you've got grandkids now. She didn't get out. You need to come forward. I can't stress it enough. The person that you would be sort of breaking your rule for, of not informing on anybody, is basically a predator. He's a predator, and he's a predator of young girls. I mean, if he did that all those years back, he's probably still doing it now. So why don't you do the right thing? And you could call Crime Stoppers. I will put the link on for the group. They're called let me look. They're called Criminology Sisters. I'll talk a little bit about them later. But yeah, so you think where you last saw her, you think of that moment, and then you pick that phone up because somebody somewhere knows something. The police seem quite reluctant. They do sort of appeals every now and again. They say that they review it, and I think a cold case has to be reviewed I'm guessing every so many years, obviously. And it gets done, and they probably make contact with the mother. But I mean, her mental health really suffered. I think anybody's wouldn't they? So don't look at it as though you're sort of informing on your friends, because where are they? You've probably not even seen them. They're probably not even on your Facebook list. So come on, somebody somewhere knows something. Let's lay this to rest, and let's let her mum sort of just have a few years that's left, maybe. I mean, she's obviously not getting any younger. Let her have a little peace. She's lived tortured all along, for a very long time now, hasn't she? And it's affected the whole family, because as I said, they was very close. And Mum even goes on to say something along the lines of, if she didn't have how close her family was, she wouldn't have got through it. And I think to lose a daughter into that world is very upsetting anyway. But to not know the final end, is a nightmare, and it must be a nightmare that you live every day. Just sort of not knowing, because sometimes you want to know, you'd rather know than what you sort of guess in your head, don't you? Because I mean, you can imagine all sorts, and I imagine this woman has. I'm guessing that some of the people are going to sort of have a little spin on it where, parents should have done more. I mean, what more this woman could have done, I don't actually know. I mean, she was a single parent, so she was sort of pulled for that, having all these kids in a rough area and things like that. It doesn't matter where you lived or anything like. Nobody deserves to sort of go missing and be missing unanswered for this long. I mean, the only case I can ever think of that sort of had stayed in the media is Maddie McCann, and if Maddie McCann's parents hadn't been who they are, members of society, I don't think that would have stayed in the thing, to be honest. Anyway, let's have a look now. So Crime Stoppers have put a £10,000 reward up. That's been up there and offered for a long time. It's nothing claimed. This case gets no leads. It really doesn't. You can, like I say, you can contact me. I'll ring the police for you. You can just tell me anonymously. I wouldn't give your name, or you can speak to, like I said, I'm going to tell you about the Criminology Sisters, they're called. I think, yes, they are. And just go and check their group out and see what they do. I mean, they might even be able to sort of help you if you've got a cold case. And then finally, where are we? Oh, one of the quotes is from her mum. She says, my daughter was beautiful and she had a whole life ahead, and she was intelligent and fun, and she just got eaten by vultures. And I think, wow, that is so fucking true. So true. Her mum actually believes, she's a realist. Excuse me. She's a realist. She's not going to say, she's accepted that her daughter's probably, not going to come back. And she believes that she was sucked into the underworld of drugs, and trafficking and stuff like that. Wow. So what do we think, guys? I think from what sort of I know, I think the police seem very reluctant for some reason to do much on this case. They are actually treating it as a murder inquiry. I think there's a little bit of covering up going in there on me. I think it may be like a paedophile ring. Do we think that? Or could she be in Turkey? Could she be live and well? And in Turkey, don't forget, she had those, her friends, that family, didn't she? Maybe she knew what was going to happen to her. Got a sense or something. heard on the grapevine, and then, she was pregnant and all that. And for whatever reason, we don't know, she can't come back and she can't say. And then you're going to say, she would contact the family with it. But, if your life's in dire, life or death, it doesn't matter how close you are to your family, you probably wouldn't, would you? I mean, so she could be. It's an avenue, isn't it? It's an avenue. But the fact that the people aren't coming forward tells me they either don't know anything, because she's just vanished, and we can't just vanish, so she took herself to Turkey maybe. But then you're going to say about a passport, so no, guys, so don't pick at me. Well, the fact that people aren't coming forward tells me that they're scared, and it tells me that they're scared of something. So the only way you would be absolutely petrified of this drug dealer is if he was a real deep connections and, well-established gang, which would then, therefore, the police wouldn't want, be reluctant to get involved as well. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know. So, guys, if I can't link a picture to it, because at the minute I'm doing it on a tablet, because I've lent my laptop out to my son. So, if I can't, just go over to my Facebook, and it's on, you'll see the pictures of her on my, my group for Sex Workers UK. And also, there's a story on if you go onto the Criminology Sisters as well. So please, I hope you all watch it till the end. If you do recognise her, even if you've just seen her in a train station back in the 90s, please tell somebody. Please tell somebody. She's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's sister. She was pregnant at the time. So please, just don't ignore it. If you know something, don't turn the video off. Just do the right thing. Love you all.